Thank you so much.
Is it working? Can you hear me?
All right. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
My name is Victoire. I'm 37. I'm French, and I was born a few months before the word greenwashing was ever invented. So I'm going to give a brief talk right now on what's greenwashing and why we need to make that a conversation. And after, I'll be very happy to answer all the questions. Do we with the slides or? So this is this. All right. I would like to start today by getting to know you all a little bit better. Could you please raise your hand if when you arrive to Les Indes, then you're like, wow, this is beautiful with white mountains. Okay, do you believe in climate change? And do you believe that we can have a sustainable information? Okay, best friends. Now, you work in hospitality. Do you ever look at these and you scare you? Raise your hand.
Okay, great. So I'm going to zoom out and having that conversation together. Should have a sentence about talking about hospitality and tourism. So did you know that tourism accounts for 8% of the emissions of greenhouse gases? And when we say greenhouse gases, it's carbon, not carbon, and now that I'm looking at that this one is also methane and it's also other greenhouse gases, right? So that's the industry, it's 8%. But what about hospitality? What about accommodation? It's actually 22% of these 8%. And so we said we talked before about focusing on what we can control, influence, or other concern. What we can control is this 22%, right? So from that, we agree on the reason that there needs to be change. We understand that there's a problem, but then we are in a situation today when there's greenwashing, and when we skip greenwashing, when we see greenwashing. So how did that happen? In history there, I didn't know if you know, but greenwashing actually started with hospitality. Greenwashing started in 1986 with a research paper published by a person called J. Bertenders, and they were highlighting the fact that hotels were asking clients to put their towels on a rack and let them affirm to not wash it to save the planet. But then it was proved that we were saving money and not really the planet. And so this is where greenwashing started, right? But when we can say that picture save the planet, let's start with this to like break greenwashing. The planet's going to be just fine. Right? The planet's not going to explode because of climate change. The planet's not going to disappear. We are, right? So this starts changing. So then, greenwashing is a mismatch actually between the intention and what actually delivered. And so it's a marketing tool, and it's a marketing tool that has been used by some companies to try to have a conversation with their customers. So I'm working in impact. I have a career in sustainability. It's because I'm a dead optimist person. I feel we have the power to change things. I feel we have an impact. And so I don't think that people wake up in the morning saying, you know what, I'm going to destroy the planet today. And so this is why to me greenwashing is also a gap between our intentions and our behavior, right? And so there's tons of research about the intention behavior gap in sustainability, right? So how do we respond to that? Right, we do that here also later. This is the point. Today, you're really talking about the words in the news. People that are releasing, they can be on the person, this person and the person, operators, you can be one of the there's a pressure everywhere. And so most of the time, like, this seems extremely hard. I don't know where to start. I'm going to do whatever it does. I'm going to do what I feel could be perceived as, and this is going to be just fine. It's actually not, right? But there's another thing with most of the changes is that when you know you have to go through change, you go through the 5 stages of change, right? First of all, tomorrow, no, there's no climate change. We will have some people talking about that. No, sustainability is not done, right? And then we're going to bargain. So like, maybe if I do this, I don't have to do that. Maybe the neighbors does this better. I don't have to change anything. That's another one. Then you will have anger, and this is something that we see more and more, and especially cross generations, you see that anger conversation happening on blaming the old people, and the old people saying it's about the young people to change things. That would be anger. And then we'll go into the last step, which is acceptance, and this is where I would like all of us to start from here. Acceptance, right? So how do you actually combat, greenwashing and go to sustainability hospitality? There's no golden rule, and I'm going to share with you the conversation that we have with our partners on how we can start that way and that path with avoiding greenwashing. And the number one is be curious. Please be curious. Try to educate yourself. We have tons of content out there to understand what this is about. And so, no. I'm going to hold this. I think it's better. Is it close paper? Okay.
Fashion so well.
Yeah. So like I have time. So be curious, and be curious. I'm going to ask you reflect from to Paris. Do that is. Here we go. Well, let me start there. Let me start understanding. And what works for us as a person and us as a company. So start about understanding our missions, starting about finding the partners that will give you access to understanding all the emissions that are linked to it. So here, we'll talk about step 1, step 2, step 3, and I'm going to come back to that quickly. So be curious and make it a conversation. And do we need a little break? Thank you, Victoire. All of you could the IPCC report. Yeah, I see nothing. See that? And so the IPCC report was lots of recommendation. One of them is that to stay in the 1.5 threshold by 2050 in terms of global warming, each single person in Nigeria should have less than 2 tons of CO2 per year. So if just one flight from Geneva to Paris is 100 kilos, I'll let you do the math. And your emissions are coming from when you eat, when you buy something, when you drink something, when you go somewhere. And this is exactly the conversation we want to have. So thank you for that question, because it's about exactly that understanding, right? So back to what we're doing tomorrow, today, we're going to the person job, start understanding their emissions, right? Number 2 is being real. And here is the hard one, and this is where the greenwashing is coming from. Because we have lots of pledges, and climate change is a very hot topic. So I'd rather say, well, we have great things we're trying to do, then starting by saying, hey, yeah, and so this is where it's start from. But be real, right? And what was also, sometimes I talk about smart plan. And smart goal, like most of you probably have heard of smart goals before. Sustainability is somewhere we want to go there. It's never going to be the end goal. We will never reach 100% sustainable operations in that way. No, it needs to be mindset. So we need to have a smart plan, right? And a smart plan needs to be like pragmatic and close to reality, right? And so again, we start by doing things like real examples. Recently in the US, we've seen some advertising with petrol station companies that are saying, hey, look, now we use sustainable ink for our invoices, right? When you print your little receipts, you've just, it's okay, in the back. I buy my petrol for my car, I put like 100 gallons on the car. Then I'm being told that the ink on the invoice is green. This is actually maybe 0.05% of the emissions of the company. So when I say be real, it's about that. And if you don't understand previously where you can have the biggest impact, you can't really impact where it actually matters and where it actually impacts. So that's about be real and having a smart plan. And the last one is being open. And we've had conversation today at lunch about that. And if any sustainability journey, because you're not on your own little bubble, needs to be a conversation you have with other people, with other stakeholders. And again, if you run a hotel, maybe you want to have that conversation with your laundry company, if you outsource laundry, right? And you want to discuss that with your staff, with your employee, because this is something they want to also, grab on, and you want to make a conversation about it. And again, coming back to greenwashing, you wanted to make it conversation with your clients. It's very important. Yes, they're going to talk on TripAdvisor. Yes, they're going to talk between each other, right? And so make sure that you create that conversation with, again, by being curious at the beginning, so you can, what's, and then be real, be pragmatic, and be honest with what you do, right? That's very important as well. So now I would like to ask questions, and I'm almost done. Now, you just heard me a little bit here. Can you please raise your hand if you feel you will try to do something different next week? Job is done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ferrari. So we have a couple of questions for you if you want to something like that.
Absolutely. So I was wondering if there's any special tactic, or if there's any special way for you to actually persuade companies to go greener.
This is an interesting question, because this is exactly what we do. I feel you don't persuade them, you help them understand what they need, and you help them understand mostly in what we do is how they can actually have an impact. I think what's the gap that we have for now is that people and companies, they feel like what change will impact, and what's, how can I actually participate to this? So it's about helping people understand that they do have an impact, and that it starts with all of us.
So for there was another question. So how do you actually place within them that they are actually acting sustainably? Because it's a lot of ways you can say, oh, I did this week. We reduced the percentage of washing for clothes or for the travel expenses. Just in general, what for you is the most important to understand?
For us, it's two things. I think it's about being able to track progress, and you need to be able to show that you're going somewhere, right? And so the step one is always the hardest, because it's about opening your eyes on your footprint, right? And it's about, okay, so I'm there. It's like sad and dirty and not good, and I don't want to think about it, but I need to start there. And so when we come back a few months later, when they started implementing actions, when they started having conversation with their staff, when they're starting to listen with their clients, and this is how you can make that happen.
Okay, no, thank you very much.
Well, since we're talking about just actually practicing sustainability measures as individuals, which transportation methods would you recommend in that sense, and which transportation methods should we avoid?
Absolutely. So first of all, I believe personally that we should not stop transporting and traveling. I think it's so important for so many reasons. That your question you're asking is the right one, is how do we travel? How do we move anymore, right? And so everybody knows that flying is probably the worst you could ever get. The interesting thing though with traveling is that traveling by plane is that in aviation today, you have one thing which is called sustainable aviation fuels. The first energy source where you can travel with little zero emission compared to fossil-based fuels energy. If you look at the entire supply chain of sustainable aviation fuel, it's actually 80%, because you have to bring that energy. And so the interesting thing is, we sort of have the solution, but the solution is just at a very small scale, and it's more expensive than actual fossil fuels. So there's a gap. So I would say, obviously, has always been the best transportation, definitely. Then it comes electric train. Electric train will be the next one, and then you go electric train, non-electric train, individual car, buses, electric car, and fossil fuel car, and so it's about finding that right balance, and what's your
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for that. So I have one last question for you. I think on my side it might be a bit more personal. What made you want to work for SQUAKE? What is the reason for it?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. I've been close to tourism and travel my entire life. I started working in the tourism board. I was working for a big OTA previously as well. And so I've seen the benefits of travel again and travel. on So Force for Good for Humanity, but I've also seen scenes of it. I used to live in the French Alps for a very long time. I've seen the permafrost melting, I've seen the mountains falling, I've seen the
Well. And so I think that step to go into sustainability as a career and impact was extremely selfish, actually, was to educate myself. I wanted to be forced to get to learn and to learn research and to have a conversation, to do these events and make a conversation with all of you. So that was number one reason.
So you would say it was pretty eye-opening?
Yeah, definitely.
Would you recommend to the rest of us to actually follow through?
I highly recommend.
So thank you very much, Madam Ferrari. We have some extra questions that will be taken from the audience, if anyone has some. If you could please raise your hand. In particular, you can challenge us. This is what she asked me, because challenge her, leave the house, go to conference.
Yes.
The good looking sir on the left, Mr. Wilson.
Okay, so you said that electric cars and electric trains and electric.
Yeah.
What happens where does that electricity come from? If the electricity is coming from coal.
Yeah.
As most do.
Yeah.
Then aren't we just creating a loop, which is transferring one thing to another, and in fact, it's not exactly solving the problem.
Yeah, no, that's
So how do you square that circle?
No, that's a very good question, and that's I think the right question that you're asking. So thank you for bringing that up. I think there's two things, and it's funny because I'm saying earlier. So I'm French, but I'm living in Germany, and so like I'm French, that's full nuclear, and I'm living in Germany, which is full coal, and so it's funny to see also these conversations happening there. I think there's again sustainability has a problem right now, and this is time. Like time is a currency of sustainability that we don't have, and we need to make things sustainable now, even though it's going to take years to bring the infrastructure ready for that. And this is exactly what you're pointing out, when like it's going to take time for humanity to develop the infrastructure for electricity to be green, right? But you need to bridge that gap, and you need to have people like us changing habits already today. So we're used to having electric trains today. So when electricity is greener, I don't like that term, greener, later, we're there, right? We have the habits already, but that's the right question. Yeah, thank you.
You're right, Mr. Would anyone else like to ask a question to Mrs. Ferrari? Would you like to choose Mrs. Ferrari? That person on the right, first of all. Hello.
Thank you. Where do these smart goals come from?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's a
Very corporate type of
question.
So SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. So
Specific,
measurable,
attainable, realistic, time-based. And so
at least
in my time,
we've had that a lot in corporate to be judged on how good we perform our work. We would have cycles and we'll make sure that we reach them, right? So I think sustainability needs to be a smart plan, and for all of these reasons. Thank you.
Right, we can have one more question from the audience. Yes.
So what can we as individuals, being students living on campus, do in our day-to-day lives to make a contribution to less carbon footprints and more sustainability? Like, do you have tips on how we can make small changes to eventually create a whole big worldly contribution?
Yeah, very good question as well. And I think it's a question for you as maybe the upcoming generation in the world and students. It's actually the same thing. Try to educate yourself. Try to not carry on stereotypes. Try to question what you hear. Try to question what you think you know. Question what you believe as well. But most importantly, what you're doing here, make it a conversation. Talk with each other. Challenge each other, right? And make sure that this is that you create what we call the psychological safety for others to say things that might not be easy to say or easy to hear, or easy to understand, and say, look, like I'm gonna be very honest. This is my second time in Switzerland in 15 days, and I flew in twice, right? I feel extremely bad about it, but I'm telling it to you because I don't want to lie, right? So make it a conversation, and from conversation starts betterment. So make sure that you have your own belief, but you try to bring people on board with you. That's very important. Thank you.